let me introduce to everybody out there, this is Pyramid One Network, Mr. Chris Kaler.
Good day, everyone. Welcome to another exciting episode of A Quantum View. I'm your host, Chris Kaler. A little bit about this show. This show is all about searching for new and exciting ways of addressing health problems. And that's health problems at the soul level, the physical level, the emotional, mental level, all levels within us. Everybody is looking for new and exciting ways to do good for their bodies. We're going to talk about energy, nutrition, spiritual enhancements throughout the show and forwarding sessions. If you'd like to call in and ask a question or give a comment, our number is 1-843-300-1399. The lines are open. Feel free and call in. On today's show, we have a very special guest. Dr. Eric Pearl is here to talk about reconnective healing. Before we bring him on, I'm just going to talk about a few things that I want to get out of the way, off of my chest, some new things that I've been finding, some new clearings that I've been finding. A lot of people who have done work with me, they know I work at a different level, get into the out-of-the-box type of things for healing. One of the biggest clearings I've found is that a lot of our chakra system is being used as a stargate. There is a lot of interdimensional beings coming in and out of our chakra systems and our bodies, and that is causing a lot of stress. So lately, with the whole reconnection and the Earth connecting to the fifth dimension, that has lifted a lot of veils. That is now enabling us to look further into what is going on in our bodies. What is the problem here? So once you close off the portals, the stargates, disconnect the wormholes, now that does open another door. It removes a veil so we can get in deeper to find out what's going on. Along with that, I've also found that we all have a parallel incarnation. This could be construed as our higher self. We also have something called the virtual incarnation. This is just a twin to the higher self, to the parallel incarnation. And what I found is that these have been held captive. Once I release them and bring them into the fifth dimension, that again opens up another veil. It removes a lot more of what's been in front of us so we can actually see psychically what's going on. When you're working psychically, you really have to know how to remove the veils and look in to see what the health problem is. So when you're working in this way, very important, removing the veils to get to the very root problem.
People are talking about the fresh new sounds of KineticHiFi.com.
We are from out of town. We have not been here in years, and this is the best station we have heard in years down here. We're from Atlanta.
No, believe it or not, it's nice to call a radio station and know that at least the effort's going to be made. Most of them you can't say that.
Tell us what you think. Call 843-606-1314 or email programming at KineticHiFi.com.
Hi everyone, starting Wednesday, September 3rd at 5 p.m. Central Time, tune into A Quantum View with me, Chris Kaler, where we will discuss everything you need to know about quantum and spiritual health. On the show, we will have special guests, mass healings, and we'll take your calls and questions about everything alternative. All right here on the Pyramid One Radio Network.
At Chris Kaler Holistic, we demonstrate real healing and real caring to your health issues and needs. Our solution for you is an alternative to the alternative. Our out-of-the-box treatment methods are aimed to your specific well-being and are quite different than most. Venturing down the realm of quantum energy healing, Chris uses unique modalities of healing, such as spiritual intervention with pendulum dowsing, sacred geometry tools such as the neutralization, divinity, and sun ring. Another tool Chris uses is a 5-tiered pyramid affectionately known as the Silver Light Pyramid to activate quantum activity within the body. Also, Chris Kaler Holistic uses radionic technologies in various platforms with specific liquid mineral ionics to balance out excesses and deficiencies within the body. At Chris Kaler Holistic, Holistic, our goal is to get tangible and measurable results in the least amount of time possible so you can carry on with what's important in your life. Another advantage to this unique energy healing is it can be done at a distance healing session. So location is not a barrier and can be done conveniently at your home, office, just about anywhere through Skype or telephone conferencing. Eliminate costly protocols, expensive monthly supplements, high-priced allopathic operations, invasive surgeries, and dubious medication applications that keep you trapped in a financial and health rat race. Get a specific, customized, out-of-the-box solution tailored for your health recovery. At Chris Kaler Holistic, we are warm welcoming and want to put you at ease with your visit to us. Please visit www.chriskaler.net for further information as we welcome your questions and inquiries to starting this unique journey. At Chris Kaler Holistic, we want to show you that we are the alternative to the alternative and the out-of-the-box solution to customize an answer for you to spend less and gain more in your high vibrancy journey. Visit www.chriskaler.net. Real healing and real caring to your health needs.
World. This is KineticHiFi.com.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, without any more further ado, we're going to introduce Dr. Eric Pearl. A little bit about Dr. Pearl. They say life can change overnight. That was certainly true for Dr. Eric Pearl. One day I was a chiropractor, the next day I was something else, says Eric. Overnight, Eric had found the ability to connect with energy and work with it to heal people. Today he's known worldwide as Reconnective Healing. Now recognized by and supported by science, Reconnective Healing facilitates healings for people that are often instantaneous and can last a lifetime. Feeling compelled to teach others, Eric's work has taken him to over 100 countries and has affected millions of people. Eric's hope is to one day everyone will learn to access this natural ability and will use it to heal themselves and others. He has been endorsed by such notables as Dr. Deepak Chopra. Welcome to the show, Dr. Eric Pearl. Dr. Pearl, I was looking at your website. You are a freaking rock star, my friend. You've been literally to over 100 different countries. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself and a little bit more about Reconnective Healing?
Well, can you be a little more vague, or what would you like to know?
Let's start
this way. Reconnective healing is what many of the scientists and researchers feel is a new level of healing that we haven't had access to before, because it's a new level of energy that has not been here before. I mean, obviously everything is energy. Your energy, I'm energy, the chair that we're sitting on is energy. Everything is energy, but there's more than we've had access to, according to the researchers, that Reconnective Healing allows us to do. So, in essence, what we've had in the way of Reiki and Qigong and Shinshin and Jorei and the old healing techniques and the new healing techniques have been portions of an energy that's existed within these four dimensions of height, width, depth, and time. But suddenly, as time is expanding, we're able to access more than has been here before. And Reconnective Healing allows us to reconnect with that fullness. I've taught close to 100,000 people around the world how to do this work. And it allows us not to do something in addition to Reiki and Qigong and the others, not to do something different than, but allows us to take the gifts those techniques give us, to let go of having to bother to even learn the complicated techniques, the fear-based rituals, the protections, and instead access something that includes all of those gifts and takes us into a whole new world of healing, to bring about healings that tend to be fairly instantaneous and tend to be lifelong.
Oh, okay. So you're working with energy. Now, I do energy work myself, and so I've got some questions for you. So this, you say this is a new energy. How long have you been accessing this new energy for?
Okay. Well, it's not new in the way of being new and different. What's new is that it is a new expansion of what we've had before. So in other words, everything that we've had up until now is part of a new expanded tapestry. So let's say we've had red threads and gold threads and blue and yellow threads. And now suddenly we're given a tapestry that includes all of those threads. So the threads aren't different than the tapestry. It just allows us to go beyond where those threads have brought us before. So new being a relative term, the tapestry started forming in its larger formation around 1993, and it's been in an ongoing expansion since then.
Okay, so how did you come about this? Now you were a chiropractor, and all of a sudden you become working in the energy realm. When did you realize that the energy is a place where you needed to be?
Well, the story is this. I went home on a Wednesday night. In short form, the story is I went home on a Wednesday night thinking I was a doctor. I came back in on a Monday and I was something else. Now, my parents have always told me I was something else, but this is probably not what they had in mind. The slightly more comprehensive form is that one night I wake up because a very bright light comes shining through my eyes. I open my eyes to see what it is, and it's nothing seemingly spiritual or metaphysical or in that realm. It's just the lamp next to my bed had, for some reason, decided to turn itself on. And that's what woke me up. And as I looked, I saw my bedroom door was open, which I had closed before I had gone to sleep. And there was a very strange feeling in the house, as if I were not alone, as if I had been being watched. So I got up with my Doberman Pinscher, an old can of pepper spray I remembered was in the back of a closet somewhere, and a knife that I noticed from who knows what. And I started hunting through the house to see who might be there. After about 15 minutes of not finding anyone, I told myself this had to be my imagination, and I went back to sleep. But that Monday when I went into my office, 7 of my patients, independently of one another, started telling me that they were feeling my hands on them in multiple places at once, and they were feeling multiple sets of hands on them in addition to mine. I started noticing that when I moved my hands near their bodies would go into involuntary movements of their fingers, their feet, their arms, their legs, their eyes, their lips, their eyebrows. Their eyes would dart back and forth. When they opened their eyes, they started telling me they were seeing colors they'd never seen and smelling flowers they'd never smelled. And they started reporting and demonstrating healings, real healings. They were getting up out of wheelchairs, some of them. Vision and hearing returning. Kids with cerebral palsy or epilepsy were suddenly able to walk and run and play and speak normally, not have seizures any longer, not need medications. Patients were coming in and showing laboratory results where cancer tumors had disappeared. Now, just as with medicine, nothing is 100% bringing about the same effects with 100% of the people 100% of the time.
Dr. Pearl, can you give us any kind of case study where you've done some type of miraculous healing, something that would really open our eyes a little bit about reconnective healing?
Well, I can tell you that there's a movie called The Living Matrix that opens up with the story of a 5-year-old Greek child named Demetrius, who was carried up to me when I was walking off of the stage after a presentation. I was on my way to do a book signing. And the family asked if I would do a healing on this boy. And the family and neighbors had all brought him up, and I said that I will do that right after the book signing. So I finished because everyone was waiting for me there. So I finished the book signing. I came to start the healing process, and they took off his metal leg braces. He was unable to have his feet contact the ground. Only his toes would touch. His arms would hang in that palsy fashion. He couldn't walk without holding on to people or furniture, and he wasn't able to speak or be understood. And I started to do a healing session on him. And 4 minutes into the session, the venue where we were, this was a little miniature-sized coliseum, told us that we had to leave. They were shutting off the lights and closing. And as they started to tell us this little boy got off the table, climbed down the steps from the stage by himself while I was trying to talk with his parents, and ascended the entire staircase of this miniature-sized coliseum, stood at the top with his arms spread out, and came skipping down the stairs. As he did that, his parents looked so frightened. They went over to pick him up to save him from their own fear, I guess. And he saw them coming and the look of fear in their face, and he shook his finger at them and said, "No, I'm going to do it again," and he did. Later on, that boy, within a week, was able to spin in complete circles on one leg at a time, use his hands in a fully normal fashion, and was able to be understood by everyone he spoke to, except for me, because he only spoke Greek. So he practiced and learned how to count to 10 in English.
That is amazing. Now, a lot of us healers, we've all seen a miraculous healing from time to time in front of us. Is this the same for, let's say you had 5 people with the same type of illness. Would this affect all 5 people the same way, or is there any kind of limitations at any specific times for anybody with a problem like that?
Well, see, this kind of work does take us into an expanded, a different field of healing than we've been working with, most of us as healers, and it does not address or treat a problem or a symptom. It doesn't matter what you know what's wrong with the person, whether you know everything, some of it, none of it, or whether they lie to you about what's wrong with them, because it simply allows the perfect orchestration of the universe to direct a return to an optimal state of balance for that person. And in that consciousness, then as healers, we would understand that it is not the disease process that has the healing, but it is the individual who has the healing. It depends on what is appropriate for each person on their life course. Some people might choose their illness or have their illness for their lessons, some for the lessons of those close to them in their life, some to give love, some to receive love. So what happens is 3 people can come in with exactly the same diagnosis, the same set of symptoms, and they might receive 3 different sets of results depending on what is appropriate for them. Now, multiple children have come in, for example, to use the same example to more directly answer your question, with cerebral palsy, who have been unable to walk and talk and use their limbs and anything else. And the majority, very many of them, have been able to walk and talk freely and beautifully quite after that. But in some cases, some are not, probably because it's not appropriate for them in their life course, and might not be for their lessons, might not be for the lessons of their parents or their siblings. There are many ways to view it. So to relate something by saying, well, the person with the same disease problem have the same healing, 5 of them in the room at the same time, sort of doesn't really address the larger picture.
I understand that 100%, and I do see that within the work that I do, and I understand that completely, and I really resonate with that. Now, when you do a healing on somebody, I know there's a lot of people who do different types of modalities, and they will do a healing, and the person will feel great for maybe a week or so, and then the symptoms will come back. How long does it a reconnective healing last?
Well, the reason that there's so much research on reconnective healing is because of at least 2 things that science had begun to notice, which is A, the healings tend to be fairly instantaneous, and 2, the healings appear to be fairly lifelong. Now, I say they appear to be lifelong because we haven't followed everyone around until they've died, but they don't seem to leave once you have the healing. If anything, they seem to expand. I think this is a new level of healing that we haven't seen here before, and I state that, and they said it really makes sense if you understand just the we are 4-dimensional, our height, width, and height. And they said, so imagine a balloon comprised of height, width, depth, and time floating throughout this vast, endless, multidimensional universe, and our existence has been inside of this balloon, and everything inside of the balloon has been energy. When we have been doing energy healing, we have been using techniques. A technique, by nature of it being a technique, requires us to focus in on a portion of the energy within our balloon of existence. So the Reiki technique is a different technique than Qigong or Jinshin or Jorei. The experience is different, it feels different, and although we use words that say it's life force, it's subsets of the energy that's been within our balloon. Sort of like menus that offer New York cheesecake, and you order it and you get cheesecake, but it's not exactly New York cheesecake. So what we are first gifted with here is the ability to transcend these limitations. Our energy healing techniques have been like beautiful, exquisite training wheels on bicycles that help children learn how to ride the bicycle. But the true gift of the bicycle comes only when the training wheels are removed, because we have to decide, is the child here to master the bicycle with training wheels, or is the child here to master the bicycle itself? And when we recognize this in the energy healing field, we recognize that our techniques have been our training wheels that allow us to discover our sense of balance in the energy healing world. But just as we don't add 6, 7, 8, 12 sets of training wheels on a bicycle, we don't keep adding more and more energy healing techniques, because our purpose here is to either master energy healing techniques or to master healing itself. And to do that, we have to recognize that the true gift of the technique comes only once we transcend the very technique itself. So by transcending the techniques, we learn how to access the entirety of the energy within our four-dimensional balloon of existence. But that's only the first part. And we have to understand, as science is explaining to us today, that time is moving faster, not just linearly from point A to point B, but that time is moving faster in all directions at once. So time is actually expanding, which means our balloon of time in this multidimensional, vast, endless universe is expanding. So if you blow up a balloon larger and larger, bigger and bigger, it expands and it expands, the balloon becomes thinner and thinner. And what's been inside of the balloon gets to interact with what's been outside of the balloon. And what's been inside of our balloon of time gets to interact with what has not been here before, but has existed outside of time. Therefore, it's not old, but it is timeless. And for the first time, we are experiencing timelessness here. So it is new to us. And as the balloon further expands, it disappears, and the memory of it becomes only a memory, and therefore we choose to interact within it. And choosing to interact within time is choosing to interact within an illusion. As quantum physics explains, A, time is moving faster, B, time is expanding, C, time is disappearing, and D, time is an illusion. So we are learning to interact in a more multidimensional way, which sometimes we speak of as fifth dimensional, except in reality, once we leave four dimensions, nothing is linear any longer. So using the term as fifth dimensional, we can't really do that. It's no longer fifth. And since we don't have a perfect term for it, generally speaking, it's referred to as a multidimensional existence.
Multidimensional is absolutely right. There's so many dimensions that we're interacting with right now. That there is all these lower dimensions, higher dimensions and densities that we can't even imagine or begin to imagine what exactly is out there when it comes to the whole realm of the universe and energy. Now, there's quite a few people that I talk to about my work, and we'll go to a party and they'll start asking me, what do you do for a living? And then I'll look at them, I'll look at my wife, and I'll say, well, they asked a question, and I'll start explaining it. And they'll look at me funny, and I'll try to explain it in a way that they can try and understand it, and they just tend to walk away, or of course they don't believe in it. But there are people who will sit and listen. I've got their ear, and I'm talking, and they're listening, and they're trying to understand it. Now, for somebody who doesn't believe in energy work or any type of alternative modality for that ever, will reconnective healing work on somebody who doesn't believe?
Yes, because reconnective healing has nothing to do with faith or hope or belief or hypnosis or positive thinking or anticipation or mind over matter or neurolinguistic programming or anything else along those lines. When reconnective healing first appeared, my patients were coming in expecting to see a doctor of chiropractic, and I thought I was one. You can't double-blind a study a whole lot better than that. Later on, when people started coming in to see me because they heard about the healings, oftentimes I'd walk into the healing room to work on someone, and they'd be sitting there glaring at me pretty much angrily that they were there in the first place, explaining that they didn't believe in it, they thought it was garbage, they wouldn't have come if their husband, wife, mother, father, sister, brother didn't make them come. And I said, listen, you don't need to believe in this if you don't want to. You're already here. Why don't you look at it as a unique opportunity to lie down for half an hour and rest your eyes and tell yourself maybe it's garbage and maybe it's not. Whatever happens, happens. and these people would have the healings. If anyone didn't have the healing, it wasn't the person who didn't believe in it. It was the person who came in believing in it too much. It was the person who came in saying, I know this works, it has to work, I've read every book ever written on the subject, I'm sleeping with crystals under my mattresses, I'm only turning in clockwise circles from full moon to full moon, doing all the things they think that they should do, and that needy attachment to it became the constriction, the limitation for them. Whereas the person who didn't believe in it, well, it's sort of hard to become attached to something if you don't believe it exists in the first place. In essence, if you set a glass of water down on the table in front of you, the water will catch the table will catch the glass of water, and I can pretty much assure you that the glass of water does not believe in the existence of the table.
Interesting point. That is very interesting. Now, of course, with myself, I've got a lot of family members, a lot of friends who tend to call me and want me to do some work with them. Can you get rid of my cold? Can you fix my sore knee? You must get friends and family all the times asking you for healings.
Well, actually, I've got that pretty much under control for a number of reasons. One, I travel so much teaching. I'm on the road between 35 and 45 weeks a year teaching this work. And as I said, I've trained close to 100,000 people around the world how to do this work. Maybe 20,000 are mainstream healthcare practitioners, doctors, nurses, physical therapists. Another 25 or 30,000 are advanced level masters and master teachers in the energy healing techniques who have recognized that technique itself becomes the glass ceiling of limitation. The other 50-60% are mainstream everyday people who work at department stores, or they're attorneys, or moms and dads, or any walk of life. Because the truth is that the less background you have in healing, the easier it is to access this, because the less ego and attachment do you have to your own technique. So I'm not around for family to always be asking me to do this, but yes, people do ask, and they'll say, will you do a healing for this, for that, or for the other? And I tell them that I can't. And in reality, if you look at it, you might start to tell them that you can't also, because the truth is, at the highest level, healing does not address the symptom, does not address the diagnosis, does not address the problems. That is treatment and that is therapy. Might as well take an aspirin. It's faster and it's cheaper. Healing is a return to a state of balance which will come about to the same degree whether you know everything that's wrong with the person or nothing that's wrong with the person, or whether they lie to you about what's wrong with the person. Because as a true healer, our responsibility is to open a door. The other person's responsibilities have the courage to choose to walk through that door. Ours is not to determine what the perfect result of the healing should be. Ours is to open the door and to be the witness and the witnessed, the seer and the seen, the observer and the observed of the perfect orchestration of that healing according to the intelligence of God, love, or the perfection of the universe, whatever word you want to use. And sometimes the healing shows up in the form that you think it should take, and sometimes you have to step back 3 feet or 3 feet again until you recognize the perfection of the healing. And as I tell my people, if you're lucky, you'll receive the healing you came in looking for, and if you're truly, truly, truly fortunate, you'll receive a healing you haven't even dreamt of, one that the universe has designed specifically, uniquely for you.
Now, do you feel that you're working psychically at all? Like, when you're doing the healing, are you getting any kind of instruction to move the energy here or to work this area or that area? Or is it just energy moving through you, using you as the energy tool, if you will?
There's nothing psychic in it, because we're here today to rise to a level above psychic diagnosis and becoming medical intuitives, trying to find a problem, fix a problem, move this here, move this clockwise, bring it up, bring it down, make it faster, make it slower, and to rise to a higher level that allows us to witness what the universe does. So what happens is that our essence as a healing practitioner, once you learn this work, your essence as a healing practitioner will no longer look for the ego gratification of trying to find the problem, diagnose it, and fix it. It will instead resonate with the essence of the person that we're working with, and together that resonance will entrain with that of the universe, and in the interaction, we as the healing practitioners will receive our own healings, and the recipients will receive the perfect healings for them.
Okay, now you mentioned that you're on tour. You're teaching this to people. You're not actually running a clinic and having people come in to do healings. You're actually traveling the world. You're going to be in Vancouver in October. Is that right?
That's true. I'll be teaching this in Vancouver the weekend starting Friday night the 17th. We'll give a 3-hour presentation where we talk about the history of the work, the theory, the philosophy, the science. We'll bring up volunteers from the audience and give live demonstrations of the healings. And we will also let everyone there feel this in their hands and begin to teach them how to start to access this. For people who want to learn this on a personal level, we'll continue to teach that Saturday and Sunday, which I think is the 18th and 19th. We'll teach them how to learn to work this work on a basic level, and for people who want to become professional healers, we'll continue the teaching on Monday and Tuesday, which I believe is the 20th and 21st of October. And what we'll do is we'll bring up, you'll partner with people. Someone will lie down on the massage table in front of you. The teaching assistants and I will show you how to find this, how to feel it. Well, they'll show you how to find this, how to feel it, and as you begin to work with it, you'll witness the person on the massage table right in front of you go into involuntary movements of their fingers, their feet, their arms, their legs, and you'll trade places with them, experience it yourself, and let them practice on you. And by the end of the full seminar, I can pretty much make you 2 promises, which are A, you will be able to do anything and everything in the way of healing that I can do, and B, you will be able to do anything and everything in the way of what's considered, shall we say, energy healing today and more, that any human being anywhere on this planet can do, no matter how many techniques they've mastered, no matter what they've been born with, no matter what they've learned.
So ultimately, you don't need to be any kind of gifted person. You don't need to have any kind of high intuitiveness. You don't need to have any kind of feel for energy. Anybody at all can go to one of your sessions and learn how to do this. Is that right?
That's really true. And part of what makes that true is that the idea of being especially gifted in one area of another has been our separation as opposed to our unification or our oneness with the perfection of the universe, because we've been trained to look for what makes us different, special, and unique, spiritually worthy enough, better than this person. We've been in relative value. Who's better than me? Who am I better than? In reality, there's nothing that we can ever do to become spiritual enough, worthy enough, or good enough to become healers, because we are already that by having been born, and we can't become something that we already are. And if we can teach ourselves to learn the level of compassion that says stop looking for what makes us different and special and start asking what makes us the same, we'll get rid of the T-shirts that say, kiss me, I'm Irish, kiss me, I'm Jewish, kiss me, I'm Catholic, kiss me, I'm Canadian, kiss me, I'm American, and we'll start getting T-shirts that say, kiss me, I am you, because we start to recognize that when one child cries, 100 children cry somewhere else on the planet. When one child laughs, 1,000 children laugh. We are that much one.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Do you feel, Eric, that you're working with God?
Absolutely. It's not religious. It's not of any one religion. It's spiritual, just like when you see a tree and the tree knows to grow up and the tree roots know to grow down, and a newborn child knows to be born with 2 eyes and 1 nose. That's spirituality. It's not religion.
I used to take religion as what it was. I grew up a strict Mennonite in a Mennonite community in Manitoba, and obviously I broke free of that and realized that there was more to it. And I did come to realize that spirituality is a lot more than going to church, saying your prayers, believing in God. It's a matter of believing that spirituality is love. Spirituality, simply put, is simple love. That's all that is really needed in order to go forward in life. If you got love, you got everything. John Lennon said it last, all you need is love. Okay? So when somebody goes to one of your training sessions, what can they expect?
Well, they can expect that I will demonstrate how to do the work from the stage, that they will go to the massage table, they will learn with our teaching assistants and with me how to feel this, how to find it, how to work with it. They will witness the person on the table in front of them experiencing it, going through body changes and movements. They'll learn how to do this from a distance. They'll learn how to do it in the room. We'll bring in volunteers from outside organizations who have no experience in healing for them to practice on. We'll let them contact people from around the world to do distance healing sessions on and talk to them before and after. And we'll even teach them how to begin to set up, if they so choose, and can do that in their area, healing practices, so they might choose to change their profession from whatever they've been doing and find that they have a calling to make and earn their living and support their family by touching as many people day in and day out with healing as possible.
Why do you do this work, Dr. Pearl?
I don't really have a choice, and I don't mean that I'm forced against my wishes. I just mean I am so compelled that if I want to be and feel alive, I have no choice than to follow this. It's I guess you could say that it's my mission.
Now, if reconnective healing is very good for people, why are you charging money for healing sessions and seminars? If you're working with God energy, shouldn't you be giving this as a gift?
Well, I guess I could stay at home and people could pack their bags and travel across continents with their families and fly and take hotels and spend a fortune to come out, and I could teach them relatively for free. Or I could make life a lot easier for them and fly my staff and people over and set up a good learning experience for them, and the hotels and the airlines just don't seem to want to give me the tickets and the rooms for free. So somehow we tend to balance that one out. But a bigger answer to that, specifically for you asking the question, is for what service in life do you really tend to live in poverty consciousness about and not allow for free flow of abundance? Because Jesus and all of the other great teachers taught give and receive, ebb and flow. And if we don't allow others to give in exchange for this, we cheapen out of that possibility by only giving one way.
So what does the future hold for Dr. Eric Pearl? I know right now you're doing these sessions and you are teaching people. What is the future holding for you? Let's say all of a sudden everybody knows how to do this and you're done, your job. And what does the future hold for you?
Oh, well, I hope maybe a nice apartment over Central Park in New York and something in South Beach in Miami if my job is completely done. But you know what? I don't believe that's what happens. I believe we are here on earth to fulfill our role and fulfill our purpose, and when we do, that tends to be the close of this life cycle, and we return to that light that we all come from, that we all return to, and we choose, if appropriate, to come down and do another cycle. Old souls, new souls, come back and learn some more.
Dr. Pearl, let me tell you, it's been a pleasure. You have been my first guest on my show. My show is fairly new, and somebody told me that if you're going to have guests on your show, you need to have somebody who's higher than you in what you do, and I'm quite sure that I've succeeded in finding the right person to be on my show. Dr. Pearl, thank you very much for being on A Quantum View today. Take care and have yourself a wonderful time in Vancouver, okay?
Well, thank you, and you know what? That was such a beautiful, selfless thing to say, that I don't think that you will ever meet someone who is higher than you. But we will always meet people from whom we can learn. And I just learned something beautiful from you, so thank you.
Our guest today has been Dr. Eric Pearl, who does reconnective healing. Check out his website, and if you're interested in doing some training with Dr. Pearl, check out his schedule, and I'm sure you can find him in a city near you. Hopefully he's going to come to Winnipeg someday so we can do some training with him. That's it for Quantum View for tonight. See you in 2 weeks. I'm Chris Kaler. Take care. Bye-bye.